Right, well, we're waiting on the Frankston side to make their appearance on the ground here, and I might mention too that if you have the Observer, there's a Channel 10 television guide in there for today, so you'll be able to follow your teams as well. We'll be bringing you also progress scores right throughout the afternoon. That is with the Essendon and Hawthorn game being played at the MCG. And now, here come the Frankston side, led on to the ground by Peter Geddes. They're coming out reasonably early because they've beaten the umpires out onto the ground. We're still waiting on Geelong West to make their appearance, and while waiting, let's take you over to Darky Harris, who will be talking with Tony Banks.
In the Geelong West rooms, the Geelong West players are getting ready for the big game this afternoon. It is their last chance, and it's a chance that you want to make the best of, Darky, and to get into the grand final against Preston for a replay of last year's grand final.
Yes, well, we're looking forward to this game, and our players have built themselves up because they definitely do want that opportunity again. But first, we've got to get over Frankston, and you know, like, that's not going to be all that easy. So we're looking forward to this game just as much.
Your asset is pace. Do you think that'll be the difference in the outcome of the match?
I think it will be. I feel that our players move the ball well. It's similar to what side Preston does, you know, and it's very hard when, if we've got first use of the ball, a big, strong side chasing, you know, it takes a lot out of them. And if our players can get the ball, get first use of the ball and move it on well, then we reckon we've got a very good chance.
What about losing your captain and full forward, Joe Radojevic? How do you expect to replace the likes of him?
Well, Joe's a very important player. The captain of the side is always a motivator, and he talks well to the players. But we're replacing him with Stephen Nichols at full forward, and similar type players, both left-footers, both kick the ball long. Probably Stephen's a better mark. So we're hoping that, that will go in our favour. But Stephen was always a good player down at Geelong and played at full forward, so he likes that position. So hopefully that will go well for him for this game.
Another good omen, the fact that Geelong West are in the Fitzroy rooms, and they've been the successful side every week so far. Back to you, Phil.
Right, thanks, Tony. Field umpires are entering the arena down here, and the umpires for today, Peter Marshall, first year with the VFA and his first grand final naturally, and 7 years with the VFA, that very popular umpire in Graham Marcy. The boundary umpires, Glenn McBurney, 5 years, and Kevin Andrews, 2 years. The goal umpires, Jeff Mills, 2 years, and Bruce Curtis, 9 years. The board representatives being Jim Chapman and Brian Morrison. Jim Chapman, of course, the umpire's advisor. The weather for today, overcast of course here in Melbourne at the present time, but the official forecast, a mild day with possible rain, and we understand that'll be a little later on. Moderate to fresh north wind, expected top temperature 21. Right at the moment it is 17 degrees. And while we're waiting, let's mention that we will be giving you the second division scores in the grand final over at Toorak Park, the match between Box Hill and Oakley. And in the seconds game here today, Preston played Geelong West, Preston defeating Geelong West. The final scores, Preston 16-14 and Geelong West 11 goals 18. 16-14, 11-18 in Preston's favour. But Box Hill will be playing in the grand final against Oakley. A magnificent effort for Box Hill to get as far as they have so far, and who knows, they may take out the big one. Well, Geelong West now ready to come onto the field. We have the changes galore in the Geelong West side, and they will be led onto the ground by their captain for today in Brett Tawney. Brett Tawney, the acting captain for Geelong West, with Joe Radojevic being out. We'll check those teams in just a few moments. On the banner out in front, of course, you're still the best, go get 'em West. Well, they had every opportunity last week, Rex Hunt, but bad kicking.
Yes, in that second term, they really, well, the thing about it is that Camberwell failed to kick against, well, to kick with the win in the first game, but Geelong West didn't take advantage of the good conditions last week. The Geelong West team, as selected, now you'll find that Kranz will be in the back pocket. Farquharson comes into the side on the half-back flank. Gibson will replace Nichols on the wing. Nichols will play at full forward in place of Radojevic. So Radojevic, Higgins and Thompson are out of the selected side, and Toolman will line up on half-forward flank and McFadden on half-back flank. As you can see, wholesale changes for the West.
And Richardson, Mackenzie will be the interchange players here in the Geelong West side. Let's check off Frankston.
Right, Frankston's selected side. Now, Arthur Bell on the half-back flank will be replaced by Boyd, and you'll find that Thomas, half-forward flank there, will be replaced by Jones. So that's Jones, number 10, who had a great say in the game in the first semi-final. So 2 changes, Boyd to half-back and Jones to half-forward for Frankston's side today.
And, of course, we must mention that we'll have the Starion Sprint at half-time. The match is being brought to you today through the VFA by Mitsubishi. We'll be back right after this break. Well, things are very keen out in the centre of the ground. We notice the umpires out there with Tony Banks and, of course, all the Frankston players crowding around waiting for the toss. Over to you, Tony.
Peter Marshall is the field umpire, operating with Graham Marcy. He's about to do the toss. Peter Geddes calls heads. Will kick with the aid of a breeze. Brett Tawney kicking against the breeze. Peter Marshall, your first final. You must be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, naturally finals, Tony, you're always nervous, but hope I can perform like I've been during the year and we'll be right.
Good luck out there today and try not to get too nervous. Back to you, Phil.
Right, Tony, and we'll just check the ends to which the teams are kicking. We have Frankston kicking towards the right of the screen, towards the Fitzroy Street end of the ground, and Geelong West will be kicking towards the left, and that is the lake end of the ground. It'll be interesting, again, Rex, seeing the operation of the Frankston side. In the 2 matches we've seen, they've been bringing Jones on as the interchange, and he's been most effective. It'll be interesting to see whether they have him off pretty early.
There was obviously some reason why Jones was on and off. I think it was lack of fitness, because he did run into a bit of injury strife later on in the home and away games. I just question the ability of Jones to run out the full game, so it will be interesting. I believe he'll be on and off the bench.
Rex is a little like the little fellow for Footscray, Duperuzal. He's probably better value in 10-minute bursts than playing for the whole game, because if he comes on and plays well for 10 minutes, then he can turn a game around, but he's probably not good enough to play the whole match out.
I believe, Phil and Bruce, the time to bring these players on is when you need a lift. When the side is playing well, OK, take a breather. But when they need a lift and they need a bit of a rocket or a goal, I think Jones and, of course, Duperuzal in the VFL are the ideal replacement.
I tell you what, I was just looking at the Frankston side when they're all together out there in the centre. They're a big side. They've got some big players and some middle-sized players, but very strong-looking players.
They are strong. As I said, they're two entirely different makeups, these particular sides. Geelong West will certainly have to try and punch the ball from behind and get it on the ground and run it off their back line. On the other hand, I believe Frankston, you will find in the first quarter, will do the old bomb trick. They will go towards the goal square and hope that the big fella can take the mark.
Right, Radojevic, of course, not playing today through injury. And obviously, I'd say injured last week. Darky Harris. But a bad bloke, Darky. We're having good yarn with him before the match. Bruce, a very cooperative coach, isn't he?
He certainly is. In fact, all the VFA coaches have been first class. Josh Kendall's a great guy as well. And one of them's got to be a loser today, unfortunately, Phil.
Yes, and I don't know. I reckon it'll be even money betting today, although Geelong West have made so many changes, they probably are coming in the underdog a little.
Who are you going for, Frankston?
Yes, I'll go for Frankston. From what I've seen so far, they have impressed me as a side. I just hope the occasion of being in the preliminary final doesn't overawe them, although they've got some fairly experienced players in the side. OK, umpire Marcy coming in for the first bounce of the day. And the big fellow moves in. King, he directs the knockout nicely down to Berry. Berry up towards the half-forward line for Geelong West. No one able to control that ball, and eventually it's pushed out of the pack. Comes out wide and ends up down here with Hauler. John Hauler now plays it up towards the half-forward line, looking for Bardole. And Bardole coming in nicely to take the mark in front of McFadden. Bardole plays it short and reaches his teammate in Kane, Robert Kane. Robert Kane between centre half forward and the centre of the ground. So Kane gets the lead from right down forward. Up they go, punched away this time from Boyd. No one able to control it until we see Doyle coming through. Doyle goes for a wide hand pass. Doesn't reach its objective. Bardole gains possession. He gets a hand pass back, where it'll be taken away by McFadden, but immediately sent back towards the pocket position. The scoop across in the direction of Zarnecki, who couldn't break away. He was legged. but the umpire allows the play to continue. It comes back to Zarnecki, who lost his footing, picked up, shot for goal, but it'll be offline across towards the right forward pocket. Not a good kick then from Boyd, who was under pressure, and it will be thrown back into play. In the right forward pocket for Frankston, we notice Rogerson moving back, and he'll probably go up in the ruck with King. So Rogerson and King, and we were told that King wasn't injured last week when we kept saying he was. Comes down to Jones, who was grabbed, but the umpire allows the play to continue. A little bit of pushing and shoving going on. Scooped off the ground to Rogerson. Rogerson gets it across in the direction of Boyd. Boyd couldn't get away with the ball, ended on the ground, and underneath him was Eddie, the little rover of Geelong West, and Eddie comes out with a free kick. He plays it around the wing in front of the stand here, and a strong mark taken in by Toolman of Geelong West. So Toolman sends the play to wide of the centre, goes towards Walsh, who very quickly gets the hand pass in towards his teammate here in Kane. Kane couldn't get away with the ball, and Gamble was up in there, and the umpire is forced to ball it up. Bounce down, as they say in South Australia, Bruce. And the umpires picked the free kick out of it to Bardole. Was the bounce down or a ball up?
Oh, either way, Phil, it depends on what station you're broadcasting for, I think.
OK, towards centre forward, up they go for it. And Frankston are having trouble on their forward line. The Geelong West team holding strong as Jones eventually puts it over the line. What do you think about this forward line of Frankston at the moment, Rex?
Looking a little bit slow, and Frankston are relying on the wind, which is not assisting them at this stage of the game.
And again, King gets the knockout. He's going well in the ruck, and he gets it down towards Krans. Krans up towards the centre forward position, and there'll be a mark taken down here, and it's been taken by Lynn of Frankston. So Lynn plays it into the centre. Getting it a little late was Walsh. He interfered with Hauler, with Dalehouse, and Dalehouse gets the free. It'll be brought back into the centre of the ground. Be an interesting match between these two. They both usually played wide, although they look a lot closer today, Rex.
Yes, they are. I expect Zarnecki probably to end up in the centre later on, but certainly last week Dalhouse did have a great influence on the game in the second quarter.
Oh, he had his name on that all the way down Bardole, isn't it? Geddes, rather. Geddes gets it across to Baldwin. Baldwin now around the half-back line. The bounce comes back towards Farquharson, who's given a nice old shove. The umpire allowed it to go on, and it will be a throw-in. A bit fortunate there. Not a big crowd here again, but comes back into play, and again directing the knockout was King. Came down to Tallman. Tallman passed it out of the pack. Coming through here is beaten. They can't seem to get the ball out in the open. Walsh now gets the hand pass in to Gamble. Gamble with a kick in towards the centre. Let's see what Jones does here. He's moving quickly towards the ball. Right behind him is Krans. He gets a pass in, up in the direction of his teammate Hilton. Hilton now being troubled out here on the wing, and the umpire blowing the whistle has picked a free kick out of it, and will go to Malcolm Eddie. Eddie now on the half-back line, Bruce.
Second kick for Eddie. He had a lot of kicks last week, wasn't all that effective. Drop punt. No score after almost 5 minutes. Thumped on by Evans. Beaton, the little fellow for Frankston, and gets pushed in the back by Berry, and Beaton will take the free kick. Rovers were absent last week. The two for Geelong West were disappointing, and also the two for Preston didn't go all that well. Bardole missed it. Tawney with a handball to Dowhouse. Dowhouse caught. Now it's Johnson. Some ragged play at the moment. Beaton wants a free kick. Zarnecki's handball interrupted in its passage by Doyle. Quick kick by Geddes to half forward. Kane and Hilton, they run into one another, knock one another over. McFadden getting back on it. Quick kick away. Wants Krans. Krans should be able to use Farquharson. He does. Drop punt on the run. Centre half forward Evans and also Gamble. Now Glenn Kane has been a very good player in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Walsh tapped on, wants Zarnecki to move for him with Dowhouse. Zarnecki's gone into the centre. Dowhouse did that very well, over to Krans. Tawney urges him on, and Krans with a drop punt. Berry at the back. Beaton interferes with him, and Berry gets a free kick. So Berry, who kicked 3 goals last week, he was a very good player for Geelong West. From half forward, still no score in this game. Drop punt about 40 metres to the goal square. King in the front spot. Not paid. Big fellow had a big grip of that. What do you think, Rex?
Well, I'd be interested if we have a chance to watch the replay. I thought he did retard the ball. Now, whether the umpire has been hard on King or not, I thought it may have been a mark. You see here, both hands up. That, for mine, is a mark, in my opinion.
Rush through from behind. So first score to Geelong West after 6 minutes of football, and they lead by the solitary point. So it's Hauler to bring the ball back in. Drop punt. He was looking towards Bruin, and Bruin's taken a fine mark.
Now, if that is a mark, Leo King's is a mark. I think that is clear.
I think the difference is Rex, one was taken in the goal square and the other at half forward. Bardole in the front spot. Now Hilton. It's a busy player. Poor kick. McFadden takes the mark at half back. Jones got one behind the play. Box Hill lead, 1-5, Oakley 1 point. Lots of scoring shots there. 11-1 in the grand final of Division 2. So Bardole from centre half forward. Lovely kick. Rogerson and Smith. McFadden plays it towards the boundary line, and it will be a ball in. So after 7 minutes of football, Geelong West a point, lead Frankston.
And the Geelong West defence playing very, very close to the slower Frankston attack. There's the knockdown. Comes out eventually to be taken by Zarnecki. Zarnecki up towards Jones, who was under the ball there, but comes off the hands of the pack to Tawney. Tawney to Jan Smith. Jan Smith back here on the flank, and Walsh comes across to pull in the mark for Frankston. They're having a lot of trouble once they get the ball up forward, Frankston. Probably need Rogerson. Well, Rogerson is at full forward as it goes across towards centre half forward. Passed away by Tawney. Tawney across to Jan Smith. Jan Smith in turn up towards Dalhouse. Dalhouse well down from the centre. Sends it towards the centre of the ground. Gamble comes through here. And he turns around players, gets a grubber in towards the centre, comes through in the direction of Beaton. Beaton now passes across to Lynn. Lynn up towards the half-forward line. He's looking for teammate in Peter Boyd. Boyd having trouble controlling the ball. Right behind him is Watson. It will be a throw-in. Well, a very low-scoring game at the 8.5-minute mark. Only one behind scored. Here's the chance now for Frankston to get it. They'll keep it in attack. Through Jones coming through. He trips over his opponent. It could have been holding the ball, but the umpire allowed it to continue. And eventually Bardole gets it. Bardole tries to straighten up. Look at them crowding on the back line here. And it's Doyle who'll take it away. He's tackled by Boyd. And eventually it's Boyd who gets it, shoots towards the goal, and he's put it through for the fourth big score of the match. 1 goal to 1 behind.